Hello guys, today we're going to be talking about the Granite Mountain Hotshots Yarnell Hill Fire of 2013 by Stephen Lamb, Danielle Gregory, Carlos Lemus, and Dominick Ramos. The Granite Mountain Hotshots Yarnell Fire in 2013 was a tragic incident that resulted in the loss of life and serious injury to firefighters. This incident serves as a crucial case study to understand the impacts of extreme fire behavior on firefighter safety. The Yarnell Hill Fire, also known as the Yarnell Fire, was a wildfire that occurred in Yarnell, Arizona in June of 2013. The fire started on June 28th and was caused by a lightning strike. The lightning strike ignited a small fire that quickly grew due to strong winds and dry conditions. The fire eventually spread to over 8,000 acres and destroyed numerous homes in the area. Tragically, 19 members of the Granite Mountain Hotshots, an elite firefighting crew, lost their lives while battling the fire on June 30th, 2013. The Yarnell Hill Fire is considered one of the deadliest wildfires in Arizona's history. Here are some facts about Yarnell, Arizona. A very small town, a population of 570. Yarnell is located in the Yavapai County, Arizona. Elevations at 4,780 feet. Peoples Valley, Arizona is closely linked to Yarnell and it is less than 6 miles to the north. And the community is named after Harrison Yarnell, which was known for his high carat gold. Here are some key factors contributing to the incident. Failure to recognize a threat during size up. During the initial assessment of the fire, there was a failure to fully comprehend the potential dangers and threats posed by this massive fire. Also, poor situational awareness and failure to recognize and communicate the threat. Firefighters may have lacked situational awareness, which hinder their ability to accurately assess the evolving fire conditions and communicate the risk effectively. Environmental factors, the surrounding environment, including topography, fuel load, vegetation, all played a significant role in the fire's behavior and the intensity. Also, weather factors, weather conditions such as high temperatures, low humidity, and strong winds contributed to the rapid spread and intensification of this fire. Here is a synopsis, a brief description, summary of what happened on that day of the fire. On June 28th of 2013, a dry lightning strike caused a wildland fire in Yarnell, Arizona, with elevations at 4,500 to 6,000 feet. The entire incident lasted around 12 days. No vehicle access. Um, at the beginning of the fire, there was no vehicle access. There were concerns around putting firefighters in a steep, rugged terrain overnight. The incident command was prepared for a full suppression the next morning. On July 29th, the firefighters um, had contained until the winds increased and the fire began to spread throughout the night approximately 300 to 500 acres. By June 30th, strong winds allowed the fire to rapidly grow from 500 acres to 2,000 acres. Radio traffic was extremely heavy, causing a lot of confusion. The Granite Mountain hotshots left the black and headed southeast. Winds increased, the fire changed direction and went south, overtaking the 19 crew members. Thunderstorm outflows changed the intensity and direction of the fire spread, and the rapidly advancing fire eliminated the crew's options of reaching their safety zone or even being able to return to the canyon rim. They had less than 2 minutes to improve a deployment site. Unfortunately, they weren't able to find another deployment site. The Granite Mountain Hotshots crew was fully accredited but were boxed in from the intense flames. The incident took the lives of 19 members of the Granite Mountain Hotshots. During the Yarnell Hill briefing video, reports that the crew only had 2 minutes to deploy their shelters. On July 4th, the fire was 45% contained. On July 8th, the people of Yarnell were able to return to their homes. The fire was 100% contained by July 10th, and the overall incident caused $900 million in damages, 19 fatalities, and 23 non-fatal injuries. Fuel and weather conditions. During this time, there was an extreme drought that had occurred in the area for months prior to the event. Vegetation in the area had grown over 10 feet in height and hadn't burned in over 40 years, so This dried up vegetation was just extra fuel for the fire. The terrain varied from steep ridges to nearly flat valley bottoms, which made it difficult for firefighters to reach their destination. Monsoonal flow drew pressure into the area, causing thunderstorms. The dry atmosphere led the storm rain to evaporate before even being able to touch the ground. A lightning strike then ignited the vegetation. Once the vegetation was lit, increased wind speeds of 44 miles per hour and temperatures of over 100 degrees Fahrenheit caused additional flame spread. Cool air from the thunderstorm caused extreme change in wind direction and speed to the south, spreading the fire directly towards the Granite Mountain Hotshots crew, which ultimately left these 19 firefighters trapped, and these firefighters ended up dying in this tragic incident. Here is a Yarnell Hill fire estimated progression. As you can see in this blue area in the middle, the fire first started very small on June 29th, and within the next 2 days, all the way to July 1st, you can see how rapid this fire spread throughout the mountains. Here's a fuel and fire behavior advisory from Arizona and New Mexico. This was posted on June 16th, 2013. The subject: persistent multi-year drought across much of New Mexico and Arizona had dropped fuel moistures to critically low levels in the large dead and live foliar fuels. Okay, so the discussion is a multi-year drought had reduced the fine fuel loading across most of the southwest area, so the focus of this advisory will be for timber fuels within the area. The difference from normal conditions. Drought creates more available fuel and timber fuels. Drought creates more available fuels and timber fuels type, which will increase fire intensities and the concern to firefighters and the public. The surface will quickly transition a crown fire and only requires low to moderate surface fire intensity to transition. Here are the 19 members of the Granite Mountain Hotshots that were killed in action. Okay, all of these guys were relatively young. Um, some statistics of the Yarnell Hill fire. The cost of the event cost around $900 million. The dates lasted between June 28th and July 10th of 2013. 8,400 acres were burned. The cause of fire was dry lightning. Over 129 buildings were destroyed. 19 hotshot firefighters' deaths and 23 injuries were included in that. Because of this miscommunication of whereabouts, wildland firefighter supervisors should have access to GPS for fire trucks and personnel. The radio traffic was heavy during emergency times, so make sure radio etiquette is being used at all times. The terrain was not safe to firefight. Having a map of what to expect should always be accessible, as well as always having an escape route open and ready to use. Here are some resources that we used. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope you gain a lot of useful information.